Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast, and I'm here at the Element Logic Trade Show, and I am going to be joined by Sriram, who is the CEO of Adverb, and we're going to talk a little bit about Adverb, and we're also going to talk about fixed and flexible automation, and we're also going to talk a little bit because they got some Zippies running around on the floor here today too as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about that partnership with Element Logic. So Sriram, we talked a little while ago on a live stream talking about technology trends, but it's good to see you here in person. How are you?
I'm doing great. Living the dream. Thanks for having me over.
Definitely happy to have you. Happy to sit down with you. So tell us a little bit about Adverb for people that are not familiar.
Yeah. So for starters, adverb has nothing to do with the word adverb or adjectives.
There's no ly, right?
Yeah. We are a robotics company. We've been in this industry for a good, actually our 10th year now.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
it's a milestone year for us, leading into 2026. Essentially, we provide hardware and software to solve hard problems within the warehouse. That's kind of how I like to put it. We build a lot of this in house. We have manufacturing facilities up in India,
Mhm.
and today we are proud to say that we're present probably in all the continents in the world. So
Oh
we've
wow.
got
Very
good
nice.
presence across, right from Australia all the way to Alaska. I think we have, we've had implementations. We have teams supporting various customers, and yeah, really love what we do in terms of solving problems within the four walls of the facility of a warehouse. But also now we are starting to get into the factory side of things as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of brief on who Adverb is and what we do.
Yeah. And you guys have a lot of different form factors of robots, right? So tell us a little bit about kind of the wide array of offerings you have.
Yeah, I mean, we started by building a lot of the traditional robotics, which for everyone is two-wheel robots that run on the floors.
Mhm.
But we have transcended into understanding the value of providing robots beyond wheeled robots. So that's kind of where we work on four large form factors for robots. So wheel robots. The second is quadrupeds. So we work on
Sure.
legged robots, kind of doing surveillance applications and so on. We are also starting to build our own cobots, so arms as well,
Okay.
which helps with manipulation, which helps with grasping of items, etc. And really, the summit that we're trying to reach is humanoids, which is
Yeah.
going to be the fourth form factor. So a combination of humanoid, collaborative arms, leg robots, and the traditional wheeled robots kind of summarizes our ecosystem of robotics. Combined with obviously software and AI, the buzzword,
Yeah.
makes the magic happen, right?
Yeah.
And then, like that's why I said we're trying to solve hard problems in 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 the most cost efficient manner, because I think robotics is still seen as something that's not affordable, and I
Yeah.
think we want to change the narrative around that as well.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about that a little bit because I think that is an interesting thing, like that I've seen too in the market, where, there's a lot of perception, and when we think about the warehousing market in general, right? There's a huge spectrum in like the size of companies, right? You got somebody that's doing some e-commerce fulfillment out of like 10,000 square feet. And then you got Amazon that's got, millions of square feet, right? So there's a vast array there. So tell us a little bit about what do you see in that market, and how are you maybe addressing that too to also cater to like this mid-market, smaller size, and make the barrier to entry a little lower for robotics.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we are a big believer that the mid market and the SMEs actually are the one who needs the automation the most, because
Yeah.
um, you know I work with several customers who have one or two distribution centers, maybe up to three or five across the US.
Yeah.
It's really getting hard for them to find good real estate spaces and good people to work in their facilities, because
Yeah.
they're obviously taken away by the big companies, the Amazons of the world. So what they are constantly looking for is, how can I find a piece of automation that can make their operations a lot more consistent.
Mm.
They can meet the growing challenges that supply chain is always thrown up with, be it tariffs, be it COVIDs of the world. An interesting thing is, they actually are people with a lot of vision. When I talk to the CEOs of these companies, they have the right vision. I think they're also starting to realize the need to invest in the right people to bring in affordable automation into their operations. And I feel like a lot of them also have a lot of money to invest
Sure.
against popular beliefs, right? I mean, typical salesperson in a robotics company would be like, all right, it doesn't meet my checklist of the revenue, profitability, so let's not talk to them.
Yeah.
We're actually changing that narrative. We believe they are people with the right vision. I think they have enough money to invest. And more than anything else, I think they are the one who need it the most because they've been running businesses for 20, 30 years. I mean, to run a business for 20, 30 years is not a joke, right?
Yeah.
So they have the right principles of running a business. And now it's a job of companies like us to kind of take them to the next level so that they can compete in this competitive space of supply chain a lot better.
Yeah.
So what we have done in that realm is really work with them on an automation roadmap where we have a sort of a crawl, walk, run approach. Start with process engineering. Let's go look at their facility. I like to call ourselves warehouse doctors. We are going in,
I
we're
like
checking the
that.
pulse.
Yeah.
We're saying, do you need life support, or are you good away? Are you good to just take a couple of medicines and you can run with it for the next year or so? So basic things like process engineering. Then probably invest in a low code, no code, simple WMS platform, but also warehouse execution system ready WMSs. So almost like an automation ready WMS rather than investing in a WMS that's not going to be automation ready. And then you're having to spend more money to make it automation ready. And then, you bring in flexible automation. So bring in AMRs, bring in, more modular automation to solve one or two workflows and then move into building the entire warehouse out, lights out, right? So that's kind of the crawl, walk, run approach. And we work with the CEOs and their VP of operations very closely to figure out what that roadmap looks like. And like I said, we are able to do that because of our portfolio. I mean, we carry a very wide range of products. And coming from Asia as a company, we have dealt with a lot of affordable automation challenges. Labor rates in India, and Asia compared to what we see in this part of the world, it's a night and day difference.
Yeah.
And so we've made automation happen there. So we understand the challenges of making it a lot more viable in this part of the world as well. So that's my 2 cents on that, or more than 2 cents rather.
No, we'll take it. I mean, I think that's interesting, but that's an interesting point, right? That you've made the automation work in a lower wage area, right? And been able to find that ROI and that proven and effectiveness, right? And now that probably translates easier to where the wages are higher, right? And maybe makes it a little easier too to prove out that ROI. So that's very interesting. So talk to us a little bit about, because we have like the fixed and flexible automation, right? And you guys have multiple different offerings, as we talked about. And I think traditionally, when I think about fixed, I think about like conveyors, right? And when we look at some of the robotic solutions and the flexibility they provide, like it seems to me almost like we're moving a little bit away from conveyor, right? So what are your thoughts on that, and how do you view that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the last 10, 15 years of many startups that have come to the fore in the warehouse automation space specifically, they talk about modularity, they talk about scalability, they talk about how easy it is to implement their technologies in a brownfield facility.
Yeah.
But what they don't talk about is a lot of those technologies hit a sort of a stagnation after a certain point in time. Because as the businesses grow, they realize that, okay, I've crossed this milestone. Now, I need more volume, I need more throughput. And that's where we believe a lot of the flexible automation solutions, even though we actually sell them, has certain limitations. It may not be as fast, it may not be using the vertical space as much, and therefore you're then starting to lean on more on the fixed automation side of it, which traditionally has been using vertical space very effectively.
Yeah.
Granted, they're bolted on the floor, but they are automations that is going to last for 10, 15 years of your operations. So there is best of both worlds, right? If you're looking for more speed, more longevity, you're looking for more, you're trying to put automation into a business which is more consistent,
Yeah.
i.e. retail.
Yeah.
Fixed automation probably is an answer to that.
Okay.
But if you're looking for more nimbleness, if you're looking for more flexibility and scalability, that's where the flexible automation adds a lot more value, because you're able to implement a solution that probably gives you an ROI in a year's time.
Yeah.
But then you can also pivot and scale with additional automation, probably 2 to 3 years' time. So we believe that the warehouse automation of the future, or probably the present as we see it, is going to be an amalgamation of both these worlds coming together.
Okay.
And that's what really Adverb has defined itself to be, a combination of fixed and flexible automation. And there's a very important bridge that kind of brings these two worlds together, which is the software.
Yeah.
So the ability to talk to an AMR, an AGV, a handheld terminal, a shuttle, a crane, a conveyor, is the world that we need to be in, because I think each technology has its sweet spot.
Yeah.
And what we've found out is the person or the team that realizes where to use these different technologies and to bring it together to finally solve a problem for your customer, which is at the end of the day comes down to increasing the revenue or reducing the costs,
Yeah.
will be the winner. And that's how we see that fixed and flexible automation is the way to go. And we are starting to see now a lot of fixed automation companies acquire a lot of flexible automation companies.
Yeah.
And a lot of flexible automation companies starting to go down the path of offering fixed automation solutions as well, which kind of validates the vision with which we started back
Sure.
in 2016.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, even when I think about that flexible solution you talked about, like scaling more and being able to do that, I think about some of those mid markets, right? Because like, they may start out, in a certain building and now it's like, oh, well, we've grown, we need a bigger building. I'm sure that makes it easier to move that automation too, right?
Absolutely. It's very movable.
Yeah.
And flexible automation, in fact, I've been part of engagements where they build it for the peak and move it for the next peak. I've been in engagements where it's about 60,000 square feet, where you build a system for probably a couple of $100,000.
Okay.
But you use it for 4 months, and then actually you dismantle the whole thing and move it to another facility. So you use the
Oh, really?
same asset across 3 different facilities,
Yeah.
and then you get the ROI in probably 1/3 the time. So that's kind of the world we are.
Interesting.
And this is very relevant again in Asia and those kind of markets where speed is the name of the game, right?
Yeah.
I'm coming from India. I was just there a couple of weeks back, and I was cooking pasta. I'm just going off subject, but I realized that I didn't have enough garlic to put in.
Yeah.
I had an app, and it got me delivered in 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very real.
Quick commerce is like a huge thing in India, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
because there's so much
huge.
density of population, right? It's very interesting to hear that, and the fact like it's really interesting like that they use the automation solution, tear it down, and then put it back up again, and I think that's great because that gives it so much longer of like a useful life, right? Where I know like a lot of conveyor and things like that. Like I had experience in previous operation I worked in, and we moved facilities, and the conveyor was just like it just didn't fit into the design anymore, right? And we tried to like sell it, and it was like pennies on the dollar, right? To even like do it, we're just like just take it away, just
Yeah.
take it away, basically. So really interesting there. So now tell us about like the future, because you talked a little bit about this on our live stream.
Yep.
Humanoids, right? So
Yep.
tell us a little bit about what are you doing around humanoids and how are you approaching that?
Yeah, look, I think Adverb's vision is human, robot, and possibilities. I think the possibilities are endless. I
Yeah.
think we are really scratching the surface as far as humanoids are concerned. I know the reality though is humanoid, as cool as it looks, I think the amount of compute, the amount of effort it takes to make it reliable, make it safe, I think these are ongoing struggles for any humanoid company, right? And I think we are not at a stage where we can commercialize it yet. But we believe in a world where those 4 form factors that I spoke about will actually come together. That's the future. You might have a humanoid working alongside an AMR to solve a problem. You might have a quadruped along with an humanoid, again solving a problem. You might have a collaborative arm alongside a humanoid working alongside a human too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah,
Human is going to be very much part of this journey because he or she is the one who's going to orchestrate these actions, right? At the end of the day, the way we see it is you might have a human working on a task, and the speed at which the human is operating and the direction that he provides is the way the robots are going to react to it and collaborate in an environment. So I think collaboration is going to be key. I think the world will move towards a more um, curated environment where robots and humans will solve some problems that we have probably not even explored yet. That's the way we see the world moving towards, and we are working very hard to keeping the human at the center of everything, because we still believe the amount of intelligence that a human has surpasses anything that exists.
Yeah.
Especially when you start bringing the emotional aspects into it.
Yeah.
I think that's where generative AI still has to become more general than understanding human emotions.
Yeah.
That's the way we see that world moving towards more collaborative with humans and robots working together.
Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, like you said, I mean, the emotions, obviously we're very emotional people, right? I mean, and I don't think we want the AI to become emotional
Yep.
either. Right? I don't think that's the right way to go. But let me ask you a question then. I mean, when you look, 5 years, 7 years into the future, right? Like right now, when we look at what an entry level job is for a human in the warehouse, right? It's a material handler, maybe a picker,
Yeah.
something like that. What do you see becomes that entry level job like 5, 7 years from now? Does it change?
I think it will change,
Yeah.
and I think it will take the direction that manufacturing industry has taken. I mean, if you walk into any manufacturing setup today, talking semiconductors, automotive,
Yeah.
there are a lot of machines in there, right?
Yeah.
So the associates or the operators who walk in there is not lifting and walking and moving. They deal with computers. They're dealing with control panels. Warehouse has not reached that stage yet, but I think the entry level role will be to understand how a machine works. What does these buttons do? How do I give direction to the machine when it's stopped? How do I do like a level 0 error troubleshooting of a robot or a conveyor?
Yeah.
I think that will become that's the kind of people you as a warehouse operator need to start hiring, who understands that. And guess what? The generation that is going to get hired in the next 5 to 10 years
Yeah.
is a generation that's going to that's going to be already engulfed in the world of agentic AI or generative AI. They're going to be dealing with Chat GPT. They're already dealing with iPhones.
Yeah.
So imagine, even today, and I've spoken to a lot of warehouse associates, the generation of today that wants to work in a warehouse is coming from a background of, they would have just watched 1,000 reels on Instagram, and then they walk into this warehouse
Yeah.
and it's like they've walked into 80s and 90s. They don't want to be working there.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want to be working in environments that is in tune with where this generation is. I think that's the biggest call for a lot of the CEOs out there. They've got to make the environment of warehouse a lot more employable.
Yeah.
Gone are the days where you could get away with, oh, he just wants a job, he just wants to make an hourly wage.
Yeah.
No, they want to see value. They want to see how their world is getting enhanced. And so I think they have to start thinking, how can I bring in some level of technology? Again, I go back to crawl, walk, run approach.
Sure.
You've got to start thinking, how can I bring in some technology? How can I make that to be the centerpiece of my facility so that I can attract more talent? So I think it just goes beyond cost, ROI. It will drive your company's culture. And I think that's the direction warehouses and supply chain professionals have to look at it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. I mean, because it becomes that user experience, right? Becomes so important, and I teach and like I talk to my students, and when I talk to them, and they're all digitally native, right? And they've all used AI in some form or other already, right? And I think about them when they go to the workforce in just like a year from now, right? And they're gonna go in and they're gonna see this outdated technology. They're gonna be like, I don't want to work with
Exactly.
this, right? And I think they're going to churn, they're going
Exactly.
to go someplace where it's tech forward. And I think that's
Absolutely.
super important.
And that's been our input to someone like the Siemens, the Allen Bradleys of the world.
Yeah.
They are the one who give us these HMIs, so the user machine interfaces.
Yeah.
You look at your phone and look at the capacitive touch the phone has as against, and we could probably try it out in this show today.
Sure.
If you go to the HMIs and start pressing it, it won't react as fast because they're not capacitive in touch. So the day the interfaces become as seamless and as intuitive as phones get in a warehouse or a factory, I think that's the day you will be able to attract better talent.
Yeah.
And that's going to be key. I still feel we're going to live in a world where humans are going to drive it. I think humans will be in the center of everything. But what kind of people do you want to bring in will really depend on the technology you invest in.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is going to take you 5x, 10x faster than your competitors.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's a great point and really great insights from you today, Shriram. And really appreciate you sitting down with me here at the show. If people want to get in touch or learn more about Adverb, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, www.adverb.com is the place to reach us. Just write to us. If you happen to be in the stateside, definitely email one of us. We are all active on LinkedIn. We'll be more than happy to walk you through that. I will give a shout out to my team. We've really recently released adverb.ai as a website. So if you're looking at wanting to understand what's next, that's the place to go. That's where our humanoid is going to get released, and would love to have people look at that website and get a sense of what's in store for the future in warehouses and factories.
Very nice. Very nice. And when is the humanoid releasing?
18 months from now.
18 months from now. Okay.
I don't think my R&D
Ready.
team knows that, but I think now they know it.
Oh, he said the date now. Yeah. All right, fantastic. And we'll definitely put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well as in the show notes here. So Shriram, thank you once again for joining me on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video here on our YouTube channel, The New Warehouse Podcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video in particular, make sure you like it as well. And if you want to get this great t-shirt that you see in the video behind me, Warehouses Are Sexy, head to warehousesAreSexy.com and get your own.